Also a topic of debate in Louisiana, where last week Governor Jeff Landry signed a law requiring the Ten Commandments be displayed in all public school classrooms by 2025. Civil rights groups already suing to try to block it on behalf of multi-faith families, setting up legal showdowns over church and state that could end up in front of the Supreme Court.
Wonderful. My name is James Talarico. I have the honor of serving as state representative for House District 50 here in the Texas House. And I am honored to be here with leaders from a variety of faith traditions in our community and across the state of Texas. We are here to celebrate an important victory in the fight against Christian nationalism. There was a bill passed in the last legislative session that would allow school districts to replace school counselors with untrained, unsupervised, unqualified religious chaplains. We had folks speak out against this bill from across the political spectrum, from across different faith traditions, from across different communities. And we are proud to announce that 25 of the biggest school districts in Texas have rejected this policy at the local level.
He's a former teacher who was elected to the Texas House of Representatives in 2018 for the Democrats. In 2022, he won again in District 50 and sits on the Public Education Committee, Calendars Committee, and Juvenile Justice and Family Issues Committee. Representative James Talarico, welcome to the Weekend Show.
Thanks for having me.
So in Texas and the MAGA leadership, the energy and the passion with which you speak, and I found it absolutely fascinating. I'm thrilled that we have the chance to actually talk to you here, as opposed to me just liking you and retweeting you. Sure. I want us to talk about the rise of Christian nationalism in the U.S. and certainly in Texas, and the MAGA leadership that doesn't appear to believe in the separation of church and state. You're a person of faith, a devout Christian, and yet you are one of the loudest dissenting voices regarding the teaching of Bible studies in school. Just explain that to people who might not quite get it.
Yeah, I think it's helpful to define terms here, because I know Christian nationalism is a new term that maybe we're not all familiar with. So the way I define it is that Christian nationalism is the worship of power. Political power, social power, economic power in the name of Christ. And in my reading of the Gospels, it is a betrayal of Jesus of Nazareth. And so I, as a Christian, feel that I have a moral obligation to speak out against this perversion of my faith and this subversion of our democracy.
Christian nationalism has permeated the Republican Party, to the point that, as we know, the new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, he is, very much doesn't believe in the separation of church and state, has said that out loud. He says, if you want to know my views, just read the Bible. And also in Texas, I should just mention there was this 3-day conference, this convention, where delegates there moved the needle even further to the right, preaching Christian nationalism and approving rules that would give them unprecedented control of elections. I mean, the Republicans aren't hiding this, are they? And we know about Project 2025, which maybe we'll get into later, which is also a Christian nationalist manifesto for reimagining the United States government in Donald Trump's image. It's kind of terrifying and dystopian, and yet I don't think people quite get that difference between what a Christian, a practicing moderate Christian such as yourself is, and the definition of a nationalist.
The victories here in Texas at the local level, but we've got to do so much more to resist Christian nationalism across the country. Christian nationalism is on the rise. 3 years ago, Christian nationalists stormed the U.S. Capitol, killing police officers while carrying crosses and signs reading "Jesus saves." 2 years ago, Christian nationalists on the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, allowing states like ours to outlaw abortion even in cases of rape and incest. And as we speak, Christian nationalist billionaires are attempting to dismantle public education in the state of Texas and therefore dismantle democracy. Let me be very clear. There is nothing Christian about Christian nationalism. Jesus never asked us to kill police officers. Jesus never asked us to ban books, silence teachers, or defund schools. Jesus never asked us to control women's bodies. Jesus never asked us to establish a Christian theocracy. All he asked was that we love thy neighbor, not just our Christian neighbors, not just our straight neighbors, not just our male neighbors, not just our white neighbors, not just our rich neighbors. We are called to love all of our neighbors. And that is exactly the opposite of what Christian nationalism does in the world. And so I am calling upon all Christians and all Americans to confront the sin that is Christian nationalism and denounce it at every level.
Which is that every teacher, every classroom in the state will have a Bible in the classroom and will be teaching from the Bible.
But will they? School districts are scrambling, trying to figure out what to say or do as the first day of school looms and a Bible mandate hangs over their heads. Since that announcement back on June 27th, the first ones who came out, Norman Public Schools. They said they're not mandating a Bible in every classroom. But now, they're not the only ones. More public schools came out this week saying they're not putting a Bible in the classroom either. More schools saying teaching any specific religious doctrine or practice is not a part of the current standard. Bixby Schools saying they won't mandate it, stating his statement seems to be a tacit acknowledgement that this directive may not pass constitutional muster. What would you respond?
I would respond that with support.
Reverend Shannon Fleck has been outspoken against the regulation, along with other Oklahoma religious leaders.
What version are they going to teach? What interpretation are they going to teach? Do they have the skills to read the original Hebrew and Greek to teach?
Reacting to those districts, telling us in part, quote, Oklahoma students will be taught history, and that includes the influence of the Bible as a founding document, adding that any school violating the standards will have swift action taken to get them back on track. To put a Bible in every classroom. The board then voting to start revoking 4 teachers' certificates.
To revoke Allison Scott's, Reagan Kalaki, Scott Renkin, and Anthony Deason.
Legislators, including Senator Mary Bourne, wanted to know why.
Obviously, they discussed them because they all had their motions in order. They all knew what to say.
She was on the agenda, actually, to participate in closed executive session. The senator, part of several education committees. The board, though, made its decision without her. Warren claims that's a violation of the Open Meetings Act.
That's extremely concerning to me.
After the meeting, when asked about not allowing legislators in, Superintendent Walter said he needs clarification from the Attorney General, saying today,
I've got, left-wing Democrats like Mary that want to come in and make it where we can't remove pedophiles from the classroom.
But the Attorney General's office says that's not completely true, saying, we are very concerned by what appeared to be a willful violation of the Open Meeting Act. Our office will look further into the matter and take appropriate action.